crafters, I'm Jan B and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today's video is a video with a bit of a difference in as much as I'm going to show you how I made all three cards. I'm doing it partly because they are all lampposts and also because I am running out of time doing Christmas cards and I wanted to show you all three. So what I'm going to do is I will do them in this order, but anything that is repeated itself in these two from here I've prepared ahead of time. For example, this one has to be dry embossed for the front here, so I've already done the dry embossing on that one. I've already adhered the layers to the cards on these, but anything that is different that hasn't been done before, I will be doing it so that you can see it. I hope that makes sense and I hope it works. I've never tried this before. I don't know whether I'll do it again. It really depends on how it goes. I like the idea of it, but we'll see. So I'm going to start off with this card, which I called, I think, Climbing Poinsettias. So to start off with the card pieces, which are here. As you can imagine, I've got things lying all around and hopefully all in the correct piles. So I have a Whisper White card base, which measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, which is 21 by 14.5 centimetres. There are two pieces that measure 4 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 10.25 by 14.25. And then there's another piece which is 3 7/8 by 5 1/2 inches, which is 10 by 14 centimetres. And that is because on the inside of the card I only put one layer. Ooh. Oh, black rhinestone. Oh, I'll sort that out later. Don't know where that came from. But on the front I've got the two layers. Okay, so that's why there's one inside and two on the top. The other card pieces you're going to need a piece of basic black for the lamppost and the lamps, and that should be approximately 4 inches by 2 inches, which is 5 by 10 centimetres. You want some scrap gold glimmer paper, which is for the lamps, or at least behind the lamps. You want some scrap real red, and that's for the poinsettias. I know they're not really poinsettias, but you know, that's fine. And then you'll need some wild wasabi, which is over here, and again it's a scrap. That's just for the stems. Okay, so there's that one, and there's one on the inside as well. And then you need two pieces of Whisper White, which measure approximately 1 1/4 inches by 1 1/4 inches, which is 3 by 2 centimetres. Right, okay, so I'll do the stamping first, that's the only bit, so I can do the die cutting next, and that will be die cutting, and so will that, and so will that. Okay, so stamping. The stamp set that I've used for this is Hang Your Stocking. No, it isn't. Which one did I? Oh no, this right. I have got myself in order. It's this one here, The Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And on this card I actually heat embossed that with black. So I will do that again now. So I'll need my Embossing Buddy. Get my tweezers ready. I need VersaMark and the stamp, and also my black embossing powder. Right, so one thing at a time. I've done my Embossing Buddy. I'm just stamping this right in the centre. Upside down, but that's okay. Yep, that looks alright. So if I start putting things over there once I've finished with them. Right. I've got quite a lot of mess inside my black one because I use it quite a lot, but I really don't think it makes too much difference. I can't imagine there's any way of cleaning that up, but as I say, it doesn't seem to be making any difference to my heat embossing, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Right, let's get that off. Got two little extra bits there. And of course I've rearranged everything now to make sure that I've got everything nicely to hand. So my brush was over there. There we go. Right, I'm going to use my heat tool now. It won't take long and I will leave it for a few seconds just to warm up. So bear with me. There we go. As soon as your heat embossing turns shiny, that is enough. Holding it on there any longer will do bad rather than make it go even more shiny or anything. So, I've got a drink of water here. So that'll keep me going. So we'll do the die cutting first. Now for this card I've used the straight-sided lamps, and the nice thing about that is we have a die to cut out the bits behind. Unfortunately we don't have that for the round lamp, but I've used that on the second and third one so that I could show you exactly how to do it. Right, I'm going to need that. Okay, right, let me tell you the dies I'm going to be using. For the wild wasabi, for the green bits, I'm using this one here, which is from the Flourish Thinlits. And the red, I'm using a punch. I'm using the Tree Builder punch, which is that one. We come back to that one in a minute. The black is for the lampposts, and for this one I'm going to be using this one for two of the lamps, this one for the third lamp, and this one for the actual lamppost. And oh, there's another one that I need, isn't there? I need this one here, the one that I thought was flower pots at first, but couldn't imagine why. That's the little ones that go behind the lamp. Do I need anything else? No, I don't think so. Oh, I've got to die cut these as well, the squares. So for the squares, I'm using this one from the Layering Squares Framelits, and for and for this one I am using the No.2 on the stitched shape framelits. Okay, so that's all of those. I don't know how many of these I can get on in one go. Right, now that one I want to keep near me because I need to make sure that that one is actually straight. All of the other dies, as long as they fit on the paper, they're good to go. In fact, let's turn that one round. I wonder if that will fit on there somewhere. Not sure that I want to take a chance with that. Oh, I don't know if I can do it around that way. That'll be fine. But let's cut that bit off. Okay. So that's fine, as long as it doesn't move. This, you need 3 of the little plant things. But I have die cut 2 ahead of time. And the lamppost, let's turn that round that way. So that's, oops, oh, don't play difficult with me, please. Let's see. Well, that's alright, that's going to work. So I think that's everything, isn't it? Let's try. Oops. Right, okay, so that's our sentiment. And these are our 3 flower pots. Okay. And this is our layer for the sentiment. If you find your stitched shape framelits get a bit tough like that and you're really having to apply pressure on them, next time you use it, if you use waxed paper between your die and that, it will make it a lot easier again. You only need to do it the once and then it'll keep going for several times after that. Right, there's my paper piercer. There we go. Okay, so there's that. One of the lamp. Okay, so there's that one. One for the double lamp. So that's good. And then one for the stem. Okay, there's that one, and then there's 2 more up here that I did. There's one, and there's one. Oh, you also need some glimmer paper as well, a scrap of glimmer paper. That's what's left of my scrap. That's for the centres of the flowers inside the card. Right, let's put paper there. And that goes on there. Right, okay, that's enough of Big Shot for this card. Oh no, it isn't. I've got to do that now, haven't I? Got to do the dry embossing. Right, for that I need to change my platform, and I'm using just the Big Shot platform without the thin die adapter. Still 2 cutting mats. Now I need the smallest piece here, so it's a top layer, and I'm using the softly falling embossing folder. Just line that up as close to the inside as possible, unless you want the heaviest bit up here. I use this folder a lot, and I tend to go for the light bit first and work my way up. Obviously it doesn't matter which way round you're having it, but because it is a 6x6 embossing folder, make sure that you put your fold in the folder going forward first, and make sure you've got this lined up nice and straight as well. Okay, and that's that sheet. Now I won't be needing that again because, as I say, anything that gets repeated, I've already done it ahead of time. Put that down there. And put those in there. Right, now, what shall I do first? I think, let's do the lampposts first and get all the bits and pieces built up. No, let's do the flowers. Now this is something I've done ahead of time as well, because we need 14 of these. So the one that I'm doing is that little flower there, and this is, as I say, the Tree Builder punch. So just take yourself a thin strip and go along that, punching them out. Okay, as I say, I've already done all of them so that you don't have to sit and watch. Plus fact, on a long video like this, I am trying to save time. So those are here. Just move those 2 bits off. Okay. The other punching is the Whisper White. No, it's not. It's Dazzling Diamonds Glimmer Paper, and for that I used a handheld punch. So just if you don't keep that emptied regularly, it's a good idea to make sure it's empty now, because you need to do 14 of these. So you can just go down, do your 14, and then empty it all out, and you know you've got all of what you need. So that's that. Got an extra flower now. So let's start putting everything together. Right, so I'm going to do this. What did I do? That went onto here with dimensionals. So I think I'll use small ones for this. I use these small ones quite a lot now. I think this is such a great idea. I've always liked the normal size, the regular size of dimensionals. Never occurred to me that maybe smaller ones would come in handy, but they really do. Right, I'll try and keep tidy as I go along. Tweezers, that's regular tweezers. I'm not quite sure that's straight. But that's okay, I can live with that. Excuse me, have I got a silicone sheet here? Yes, I have. Got 2. I thought if I lost one, I'd have the other one around, but I put 2 on top of each other. That way if I lose one, I lose both of them. Right. Adhering cardstock to glimmer paper, I recommend that you use either glue dots or Tombow, but in this circumstances I don't really know how you could use glue dots. You've got to get the glue dot on these very thin strips here. I mean, presumably you could roll it up into like a sausage, but you would need to, for this particular card, you would need to do 12 of them. No, top and bottom as well, isn't it? So that's 18. So pop that on there. Strangely enough, Stampin' Up haven't given us the backings for the round ones. Not quite sure why, what the reasoning behind that was. I didn't change it for the video because I thought at least I will show you how I do it. But I do feel that in future I'd probably just stick to these straight-sided ones. I'm not really one for creating extra work for myself, which effectively is what the straight edges one does. I haven't put that on properly. Right, now that looks a little bit heavy, and I've got a scrap piece of paper here, so I'm just going to dab that off a bit. I'll put my flower pots on. And then while I'm moving on to the other bits, I'm going to put something heavy on this to give it a chance to dry. So if I turn them over like that, because they've got glue coming out on around the side, so it won't stick on there, I can use my, tick that upside down like that, leave that over there to dry. Now I'm going to put my card together, and the bottom layer, yes, I'm doing this one with Tombow, and it's the next layer, the one with the softly falling embossing on, that I'm going to do with dimensionals. You could do both sheets with dimensionals if you wanted. So there's that one. Would it be easier to leave it until I've done my... Yes, it mightn't it? Might be easier to leave that one until I've got all the lamppost and everything on there. Okay, so that's the card, and this is a bit I need to work on. With the lamppost, I'm going to pop that so that it is going to be, whereas that's going to be in the corners, when I'm going to have probably about 1/4 of an inch on that side and 1/4 of an inch that side, and then the lamppost is going to be closer to here. Let me show you. Okay, so it's closer to this side than it is over here, and I'm going to put that on first. And let's use my other silicone mat. Again, you could adhere this with dimensionals, but you do have this very, very thin bit right at the top here. Going off screen nearly here, aren't I? To get your dimensionals on, and if you do manage to get them that thin, I do suspect that the actual thing might wobble on the card so that you'd be able to see the dimensional underneath. Right, I'm going to leave that there as a guide for me. And then I'm also going to put this in the centre over this line here. And I can see from down the bottom here, which I'm afraid you can't, but I'll bring it up so you can. That's it. So now I know that if I put my lamppost there, I'm right in the centre, but I want it, say, 2 squares over. Don't move it. Okay, so 2 squares over from the bottom. It's about there. Now I'm going to make the point of that head up towards that, so that hopefully it's straight. The thing is, you can't straighten it up down here because obviously the lamppost is getting more narrow. Right, let's just pop this on. No, I glued that, didn't I? That's it. Is that sentiment straight? It does look straight now. Okay, now we need to do the green bits. When I first did the first card, and I think this is the second one, I thought to myself I wished I'd left putting the lamppost on until I'd sorted out this bit, but then I decided it'd be far too fiddly and it would be easier if I just cut where I needed to make my cuts on here. In fact, if you can have a look there, how I've cut that one at an angle, press too hard with my finger now, you can see that, and then that one I cut at an angle as well, and that one, but it looks as if that is going behind the lamppost there and coming out. So that's what we're trying to achieve. Let's just pop that away and get my paper snips, and then with the first one it's just underneath that first flower, so it's just underneath that bit. So I just laid that there, and I used my paper snips. Am I in? Yes, I am camera. And I just used my paper snips to cut a line. I can feel my underneath blade is resting against the lamppost, so that should fit. So when I come to glue it on this side, that should be fine. Okay. So I've got my diagonal bit here and it's just going into that corner nicely. And then for the rest of it, what I'm going to do is, oops, out you go. I'm going to bend this round to come like that. Now I've got 2 at the side here, the rest of it goes over. So I'm going to cut on this side here, but I'm going to let the bottom bit go so that I can hold that, and again rest my blade against my lamppost and then cut. I don't think I've done a particularly good job of that, so what I'm going to do, can you see how that's quite a sharp cut? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soften it to make it longer. Okay, so it almost looks as if there's no cut there at all. So first of all, I'm going to adhere that to my lamppost. And I really think Tombow is best for this bit because you can get glue on everything, and it is important to get the glue right onto the points, top and bottom. I don't think it's quite so important to get the bits. Oh, come on. I was scared to squeeze this too hard in case it comes gushing out, almost like that. But yes, you want to try and get some glue so it's actually top and bottom there. Oops. And then if you do this one at the bottom first to get that in, and then allow this one to go outwards, and then just very gently bring this back in again. You won't get much of a gap there, but you get some. And then just make sure you push that against the lamppost, otherwise it looks as if you've made a mistake. Right, now we've got to do the same to this one. That's, I don't know, could do it like that, couldn't I? That looks like a straight cut. If I made that more of a sharp cut, then it would go more upright. Okay, so let's make that more sharp. Can you see that? So now I can line that up against, and it goes up straighter. Okay. And again, it's the bit down the bottom there that goes against the lamppost that you've really got to concentrate on. You could do with 2 pairs of hands with this. Right, okay, so just push that up against the lamppost so it looks as if this is coming out from underneath. It all looks joined. So that's good. Now the next one, I've got one, and then I think I did it from here, didn't I? I cut the top one off. Because you've got that one coming out. Okay, so it's going to be like that. Oops. Just see where it's coming out on the other one, and then I'm going to bend it round so that that's on the edge, and that one I'm going to cut off. No, that one I'm going to cut off. So let's cut that one off first. So try doing it without making the stem look any thinner. A little bit there that sticking out, if I can just, oh, that's better. Okay, let's cut these 2 off, get those out of the way, and then decide exactly where I want it to go. A lot easier now. And then I'm going to be able to bend that around again and get it coming off the side. Right, so, oops. Didn't expect it to come out quite that quickly. Going to dab that off a bit. That's it. Right, so that's going to be coming off the sheet there. Right. Let's just move that down a bit because I'm blocking out here. And I'll bend it. There we go. It's still blocking out a little bit, but not enough to worry about. And I've got some glue there which I'll remove once it's all dried up properly. Now this other one is just going to go in here, all glued down. So you only really need to put glue on the bubbles. And you've seen how flexible it is once you've got some glue on it. If you want to bend it, you can. Okay, so if I put the top bit up there first, hold that, and then I can bring it round. Oops, no, I don't want you to move. Right, there we go. Right, now with my flowers, I'm going to do the inside ones first, and I'm going to put a little dot of glue on all the bubbles, and I'm going to put one flower on top. I'm going to move that downwards a bit because I've got some glue on the backing, and that will cover it up. Now you can probably see sitting on that piece of paper there 2 yellow dots, and one's turned over. There we go. What I was doing was I was experimenting with the centres in here. I'm not sure I really like just the white centres. It looks a bit drab, shall we say. But those two I painted using our new Stampin blends. The darker one is the Dark Daffodil Delight, and the other one is the Light Daffodil Delight. And that's also how come that black rhinestone got inside the card, because I'd experimented with those as well, but they were the same size as these circles, and I don't really like putting dimensional things inside my cards, but I did think looking at them they didn't look quite as tall, shall we say, as our rhinestones, but I think they are. So as you see on this one, I've only put very, very tiny dots of Tombow on there because I don't want it squeezing out and sticking to the card when I close it. Although it's a bit of a fiddle to do it, some of these have got glue where I'd rather it wasn't, but I will go over it once it's all dried. That one, for example, not happy about that. But now's not the time nor the place to sort it out. Right, let me just show you what this looked like. Okay, so that's the Dark Daffodil Delight. Oh, for goodness sake. Tombow, sometimes you're just too good. I got it on my fingers, I think I've got it everywhere. There we go, that's that one. And then this is the lighter one, because I think poinsettias do have yellow centres, don't they? And I just wondered whether if I did it all yellow it would look that much better. I don't know, what do you think? Shall I put it up a bit higher for you? So, do you like it with the yellow or the white? And if you like yellow, light or dark. So there you go. Let's move those out of the way. Oh, put it away, didn't I? In fact, I didn't put my flowers on this one yet either. So let's bring those back. Right, let's do that again. Whoops. Again, that's come out far too quickly. So what I think I'll do with that one, if I take a flower and just take some off and put it onto one that doesn't have so much. Oh, that one will be fine now. And I think the others will be okay. When I do things like this, and I'm doing it in advance, I tend to do more than I actually need. And the reason I do that is particularly when I'm punching, not so much with die cutting, but when I'm punching, I quite often go too close to the edge and I don't notice that I've got a straight edge somewhere until I'm actually about to put it onto the card that I'm making. And rather than have that whilst I'm making a video, I've done plenty spare ones. Let's move that down a bit. I think you can see enough of the word to know what it says. Right, so don't need any more of those. Let's pop that one up there. Now I'm going to put this on the card, I think. No, it was the lamppost, lamps, wasn't it? I thought it might stick. Right, there we go, that's that. And that's a card. Right, so we will put this on first. It's not always so easy when you've got things stuck on the front, if you've got dimensionals on there. This design of card could be used at any time of the year. It would look nice with cherry blossom on it. Right, now we're going to pop these on here with dimensionals, and I'm going to be using the small ones, definitely. I've got half a dimensional here left over. I'm going to use that on the bottom bit. In fact, it looks like I might have to cut that a bit smaller. Okay, can you see it from the front? Yes, you can. I'm not going to try and pull that right up, it's up enough. Let's just cut that bit off. Right. Now that one is going to go on the top, like that, methinks, yep. And I want these two lower. Now go down a little bit. The lamp's a bit crooked on that one. That's it, that looks fine. Right, there we go. Oops. And right, basic rhinestones now. Oh, there they are. So, paper piercer. And just when you slide your paper piercer underneath your rhinestone, make sure you go far enough down to pick up the little glue dot that's underneath there. It's very easy to leave the glue dot behind. In fact, that flower doesn't look very secure either. But I'll check it afterwards. All the time it's staying in place in the video. It's fine. So there we go. That's video number 1. And that should be the longest one. Okay, so I hope you like that. Hope you give that one a try. Let me just tidy up first. I don't like working in a mess. And the next card we're going to make is the one with the snowman. That's this one. And the card pieces that you're going to need for this. Let's come back. Oh, I've forgotten my bow on that one, haven't I? Oh well. I did it on purpose so that you could see what it's like with or without a bow. No, I didn't really, I forgot. But there you go, you can see it, whichever. Okay, I'm not going to stop now to do that. Right, so the snowman. What you're going to need for this, and as I say, I have done the bits as far as I can already. So you need a Whisper White card base, which measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, which is 21 by 14.5 centimetres. You need 2 pieces of black cardstock, which measure 4 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 10.25 by 14.25 centimetres. And then you need 2 pieces of Whisper White, which measure 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 10 by 14 centimetres. And then for the lampposts you need a piece of basic black, which is 2 inches by 4 inches or 5 by 10 centimetres. You need for the snowman a piece of Whisper White, that's 2 inches by 4 3/4 inches, which is 5 by 11.9 centimetres. For the sentiment you need a piece that's 1 3/4 inches by 3 inches, which is 4.4 centimetres by 7.5 centimetres, and you just need a scrap for the lantern. Now, as I say, I've already done this piece. I have already die cut the lamppost. I've already die cut the lamps, and I've done one of them for you. Not for you, I mean I've saved one for you so that I can show you how I did that. So let's do that one first. And what I did was, because we don't have the die cuts as we did for the other ones, I just placed that onto there, and with my pencil I drew around it. And I know that once I get above and below the curve, I can go straight up. I've still got that part of a dimensional there. Right, so with this one, I'm going to cut inside the pencil line not a huge amount. Can you see my pencil line there? I've just left a little gap, tiny gap there, and I'm going to do the same on this side, like that. And then let's bring this over. I'm going to lay that on there to make sure it's not coming off either side, but it is. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a shave. That looks better. I'm going to cut this off. Let's use pencil first. I'm going to cut that off about there, and this one about here. Okay, so if I take that one off, that one off, and I saw that that was sticking out a bit, so take the corner off and take the corner off there, and it should be more or less good to go. Oops. I wonder if it's more curvy at the top. There we go, that's almost there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere it on, and then I'm going to use my paper snips just to cut off the bits that will be exposed. I think that because this is such a small area, it's so easy just to, even though you're cutting a little bit at a time, it's so easy just to go snip and cut too much off. So you have to go back to the beginning again. Very frustrating. Right, okay, so that's my glue. Let me just dab that off. Okay. I don't really think this matters which way. It's going to be showing anyway, so. It's down there on that side that I think, I don't know. No, that's fine. Oh, okay, so that's good to go. So there's that and that. Stamping I need to do is this one and this. Now the Snowman is from Seasonal Chums, this set here. Okay, and it gets cut out like a tag so you can fold it in half. But what I've done on my card, I separated the two and put the back of the snowman there. Okay, I didn't put any more decoration on here because I thought if I did it would detract from that. So, and also I've got seasonal tag framelits to go with this, which is this one here, so I can cut my snowman out. And this one comes from Merry Little Labels. So it's this one. Right, and I'm going to be using black archival ink. On mine I have just stamped my sentiment, but you could do it with black embossing if you wanted, heat embossing. But when you do this, do make sure that you get everything covered there, and you'll find that the stamp is almost the same size as the paper. If you're not happy working like that, get yourself a bigger piece. What did I say? This should be 2 inches by, no, 1 3/4 by 3 inches. You might want to do, say, 2 1/4 by 3. There we go. That's going to be punched out, so I'm not worried that that's a bit crooked. And then the snowman is going to be this one. Right, we're not going to need the black because I've already done that. Right. No, let's do that the other way up. Okay. You might find that you get better coverage with the archival ink if you actually twist your ink pad slightly. There we go. So I'll just punch this one out first, and I'm using the Everyday Label Punch, which is that one. And this is one of those that will leave you a nice little white edge around. Okay. So next I need to paint the snowman. Right, the colours I use, holly, I use the berries, it's real red. And I also do the mittens and the scarf with the same colour as the holly, with the leaves as well, the green and red. And what I do is I tend to start at the bottom where I've got that little cuff bit, and then I just alternate my colours from there. I think I should treat myself to a new real red marker pen. This is getting a little bit flexible, shall I say. And then I do the cuffs on the gloves red as well. And of course the same on the other side. I start at the bottom of the scarf and then work up from there. I did think about doing one of these beforehand. It doesn't really take all that long. I'm always very aware also that a lot of subscribers are new crafters, new card makers. So it's only fair to them that they get a chance to see everything. And don't forget the holly leaves as well. Oh, the green I'm using is Wild Wasabi, which really has been my go-to green this year. No idea why. But I think it looks nice, good Christmassy colour. Right, there we go. That's all of that. And now the rabbit is smoky slate. quite sure what he's hiding from. Right, pumpkin pie for the carrot, his nose. And his hat I'm doing in early espresso, but there is a hat band on here as well, which I'm doing in crumb cake. You have to excuse me not talking too much when I'm colouring. I do seem to be holding my breath. There we go, that's that one. And then we're back, we've got a bird sitting here. So what I do is I do the bird in crumb cake, and then I do the band around the hat in crumb cake, but then I'll go over it 2 or 3 times so it comes up darker than the bird. I mean, it's a very small band, you can hardly see it, but I do try and make a distinction there. There we go. Okay, so crumb cake. First of all for the band, and then the bird, and then the band, and the band again, so it's got a nice difference between it. And just do this 2 or 3 times as well. Okay, so that's fine. And the last thing is for the colouring, I use my red marker pen, and I do just a tiny little bit on the robin's, on the bird's breast, so it's a robin. So there we go, that's all the colouring that I need. So the last thing that I really do is I go over this with my clear Wink of Stella, just on all the white. It's snow, so if it's all done with Wink of Stella, it makes it a little bit more lifelike because it's sparkly. But as you're going round, do be careful not to touch the red painting, because you can actually use these pens, the Wink of Stella, for painting, and it will grab colour. So the worst one of what I've got here is the red. It grabs that so easily, and then obviously it means the snowman starts going pink. If you do find that you pick the pink up, the red, oh look, I've done it. That's exactly what I mean, don't do. You see by the top button. Right, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I think I'll probably go ahead and finish the card, and then once I've finished the video I will do another snowman and adhere him over the top of it. It's too obvious for me to just leave it. Okay, so that's that bit. Now let's move all those out of the way. Oh no, don't go away you, I need you. So we need to die cut that And I think that's the only bit really, isn't it? Okay, so let's bring the big shot back. Let's move that out of the way. I've shown you the die that I'm using. So that's that one. So bring the big shot up. There we go. You'd think I'd be a bit more careful with that red ink after I was sitting there telling you about it, and I actually go ahead and do it. And there we go. But as you know, most mistakes from card making can be recovered, shall we say. Very few things you can't put right. Right, now for this we need to separate the two bits, and I tend to do the front of the snowman first, and all I'm going to do is just cut that round so that it meets up with the other side. Just make sure that that's a round cut rather than a jerky cut. And then this one I'm just going to cut round the brim, trying to leave the same sort of white gap as there is all the way around. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to put my card together. In fact, I could have adhered this, couldn't I? Ahead of time, I mean. Right. It's up to you with this softly falling embossing folder, whether you have the heavy bit at the top or at the bottom. Right, now I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. The snowman's going on with dimensionals. And I'm going to use two small ones for his mittens. The size is absolutely spot on. And then I need to do my lamppost, so I'm going to use Tombow for this. Tweezers. Now I'm going to line this up again with this centre line. So that's like that. So now I'm going to put this lamppost right in the middle. So I'm going to line it up at the bottom. See how much gap I left here. Okay, so what's that, about 3/4 of an inch? And I'm making sure that it's halfway across there and the point is coming up to the centre there. So let me do the bottom bit first and then place that one in the right place. There we go. Now I'm going to, I won't put dimensionals on those either. Okay, let's do the snowman first. I don't think it'd be too difficult to do another one of these and put it on the top to cover up that pink bit. Right, now the sentiment. And when you put this on, line the left hand side up with the edge of your card. Don't try doing the right hand side because the lamppost is tapered. Okay, so make sure you line it up down here. Okay, so let's get some dimensionals on here. I'm going to use some small ones. I wonder if I can find that little bit of dimensional that I had earlier on. That'd be ideal for the centre bit here. Yep, it's still there. Yep, that's good, still sticky. Oops, don't stick. Yep, that's off. And this one I'm just going to pop a little way down, hold it up to make sure it's straight. And that's straight. And I don't know whether you can see on this one, but I have some of our black rhinestones. Oh, and also I've painted this with Wink of Stella. So let's get that back. Okay, so all I did for this was to paint inside. I didn't do the whole lamp. There we go, that's that. And some black rhinestones. I've used 5 here, and I used the smallest ones. So I did one there, one there, there we go, and the same on the other one. Come back. And that one. Okay, so that's card number 2. Just put that there. Just tidy up with that one. So where did I do the other 2? Oh, there they are. That completed. Alright, that's that. Oh, I didn't pop this one in either. Yes, I did. Where'd you come from? Which one didn't I pop you into? Oh, okay. Sorry, I should have popped this one in. I just use Tombow on the back, and I don't go to any great fussy lengths about placement. Where's the tweezers gone? Oh, there they are. All I do is, I got him like that, I just make a note of where his mitten is, and I try and get that sort of about the same place. There we go. Okay, so that really is finished now. So I can move on to the last card, which is this one. And with this one, the one I showed on my video is, on my blog rather, it was this one. And I said that I think it would look better with some stars up there. So I've actually done it on this one. So see what you think. But equally, I've improved on the reindeer as well. I'll explain that bit when I get there. So to start off with the card pieces. Right, like this one. So you need a card base in Night of Navy, which measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, which is 21 by 14.5 centimetres. You need a piece of Whisper White, 2 pieces of Whisper White, which measure 4 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 10.25 by 14.25 centimetres. You need a top layer of Night of Navy, which measures 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches. You need basic black for your Lamppost, as before, which measures 5 by 1. That's because I had already done this lamp when I was doing the previous card. So if you're doing the 3, that would be enough. And that's 5 inches by 1 inch, which is 12.1 by 2.5. In fact, I think... Oh no, you could probably get that, both of them out of that as well, because just one lamp, like that. Okay, so that would be enough if you hadn't have done the lamp. So that's that one. And then you need wild wasabi for the trees, and this is approximately 4 inches by 4 inches, which is 10 by 10 centimetres. Then you need a scrap of crushed curry, and that's for the lamp. And for the deer, you need a piece that is approximately 1 inch by 4 inches, which is 2.5 by 10 centimetres. And then for the tag, you need 1 3/4 by 2 3/4, or 4.3 centimetres by 7 centimetres. And the layer that the tag lays on should be the same size, which is 1 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches, which is 4.3 by 7 centimetres. And then you do need, for the heels, both of these are 3 7/8 wide, and one of them is 5 1/2 inches, and the other one is 4 3/4 inches. So this one is 3 7/8 by 5 1/2, 3 7/8 by 4 3/4, and centimetres, that's 10 by 14 and 10 by 12. Okay, so that's all the bits and pieces. As you can see, I've done quite a lot anyway, although it looks as if I've lost one of the reindeer. There should be 3 here. Never mind, if I can't find it, then I'll give the one inside a miss, and I'll do that later on. Can't see that I've left it anywhere. No, I've probably dropped it. If that's the only thing that I've lost during this video of doing 3 projects, that's not bad going. Okay, so I've adhered all the bits together. And the first thing is these. On the one that measures the 5 1/2 inches, you're just going to cut your line for the heels. Where's my card? Let's bring that back again. Okay, there is no template for this, it's just you cut it how you feel is right. But the help that I am giving you is to say, down on these sides, right, with the right side facing, but I can't draw on that. So with the wrong side facing you, in fact I've written it on the back here, I've forgotten that, you need to measure down 5 1/4 inches. Okay, this is with the wrong side facing. That's 5 1/4 inches, and that is 4 1/4 inches. And the way you get your heel is just to cut from there to there, and just do it as a wavy line. So however you feel the heel is going to go, for this you're going to be cutting from here down to here, okay? Because we're doing it from the back here, so it's going to be like that. You can make that as bumpy or not bumpy as you like, but obviously you need to do it from the back so that you can see your measurements. So I'm just going down and curving it around. It's not terribly crucial. If you don't match up exactly how I've said, don't worry about it. Okay, so this piece, what will happen to this one is it's going to go on here. That's going to be that piece, and then this piece will fit on down here, and you won't be able to see this as you're working until you tip it sideways so that you can actually, this light will actually catch it. Now for the two in the middle, which is your 4 3/4 piece, you need to mark this one at 3.5 inches, and marking starts from the bottom going up, and this one you need to mark 2.5 inches going up, and again just cut from there to there, but make it however hilly or smooth as you want it to be. And again, there's no right and wrong to this, you just cut it how you want. If you go a bit short, go a bit higher, again, doesn't matter. So what will happen is that one will go on there, that one will go next, and then that one. So if I can show you from this point of view, that's more or less it done. Okay, so that's what my heels are going to be looking like. If you want, you can bring them up because it is covered by the bit underneath. I don't worry about that. I just make sure that they're all level, and then I stick them like that. But if it does matter to you, don't worry about it. Do it how you feel happiest. And if you think that's very extravagant with the amount of Dazzling Diamonds Glimmer Paper that I'm using, I've calculated that this actually costs something like 72p, which, you know, if you like somebody enough to send them a Christmas card, that's not bad, is it? Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm doing this bit first because I need to use Tombow to adhere these together, although you could use glue dots. Shall I use glue dots? I don't normally, but yes, let's use glue dots this time. If you're going to do Tombow, leave a gap at the top here on all of the pieces. In fact, no, I'm going to do Tombow so that I can show you exactly what I mean. And the reason I say to leave the gap there is so that if you want to slide your trees so it's behind the hill, you've got the gap there ready. So there's that one. Now I'm going to stick all my pieces together, and then I'm going to put it under a weight so that it can be, Tombow can be getting a grip of it while I'm doing the other bits and pieces. Okay, and again I'm leaving that gap there, so if I want to put some trees or reindeer or anything underneath, I've got the room for it. Now without any weight on this, this is not going to be sticking, so once you've got it in place, try not to knock it. And again, towards the top but not right at the top. Now I use a self-healing mat to work on, a very large, I suppose it's A2 size, and I slip this underneath, so that's the weight that I use, but otherwise you could use a book to hold it down, or anything heavy that you've got. Okay, so there's that one. Now I will very carefully show you without moving it. Oops, you can see that's moving, can't you? See if I can pick this up. If I tilt it, you can see the hills. Okay? One of those things, no right and wrong. So let me very carefully place this under here. Right, okay. So the other bits, that's made. Let's be putting the dimensionals on this bit. So that's that bit. Oh, I've got to do the stamping as well, haven't I? Forgotten about this. Well, that's good. That gives my heels time to dry. So the sentiment is from Hang Your Stocking, and I'm using Night of Navy ink. Oh yes, here we go. Right, this is going to be die cut, so I'm just aiming for as much towards the centre as possible. That's good. Oh, missed a little bit there, but I'm not going to worry. And the other stamping I need to do is on the soft suede, and I'm going to use soft suede ink for the reindeer. So I'm too short, so let's get those both done. Right, I've also brought over with me, I think, my soft suede marker pen, because I'll be using that. So I need to die cut that, die cut that. Let's move that one out of the way. So let's bring the big shot back. So how are we doing for time? About an hour and a half, I suppose, so far. Well, considering it's 3 cards, that's not too bad. Right, so now I'm using the oval dies. First of all, I need the stitched shape ovals, and did I write down which one I need? Yes, it's the oval number 2. Okay, so that's the second size here. That's for that one. And then the other ones must be here. So these are the layering ovals, and I used number 3 on the scalloped ones. So that's 1, 2, 3. Didn't leave it out, did I? No, I didn't. So that's that one. And the reindeer. Oh, that's in here. This is from the card front builder. Oh, and the trees as well, although I have actually done them. So I need the trees and the reindeer. So if we line that one up first, it's twisting slightly, so I'll twist my paper to go with it. That one's okay. Let's put that one there, it's okay. And then wild wasabi for a double tree and a single tree, and my top cutting mat. That's another time when I quite often hold my breath. Right, so that's one reindeer. That's the sentiment. Put that there. that's a scalloped circle. Double tree and single tree, paper piercer, spare paper. I'd already cut one of the trees earlier on, so I've got those. As I'm here, I might as well quickly do this one, mightn't I? Okay. On my card I've got one of the reindeer facing the opposite direction to the others, and I'm going to show you how I did that to make them all look the same. On the card that I made on that I showed on the blog, they didn't look the same and I wasn't happy about it. So I thought about it and worked out how I could do it to remedy that. Right, so I'm just using Tombow to adhere the sentiment to my scallop oval. And then I'm going to pop some dimensionals on there. So that's ready. The trees need sentiments, need glue dots as well. Now this is where I put a little selection of them on. That one's going inside the card, so that's going to have Tombow. Okay, so I start off with a large one at the bottom, and then I use a small one next. And just little slithers. In fact, I'll cut this bit, which is, I'm not sure whether I've done that small enough. This is round the edge. I was cutting it earlier on to use for bits. Oh yes, that's fine. I've got another one there. Oops. We've got, try and stick the non-sticky side down. Right, now we need one more. Okay, let's just take a little piece. I'm just going to cut it a little way up and then a little way across. So here we go. Oops. Right, so that's those ready to go. That's on the inside, that's on the front. Put the dies somewhere safe. Now with these two that I've just done the die cutting on, as you see, these have got legs on them, but these haven't. So this is why I stamp all of them, even the one that is going to be facing the other way, just so that I can cut the legs. In fact, on the card that I showed you that's got the stars and the moon on it, I actually cut one of the legs off. But I made it so that he's got somebody standing in front of him, so nobody will ever know. Right, okay, so, and this one I didn't position it very well, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to show you what I do, and it will all be covered up. Take a bit more off there. And a little bit up here as well. There we go, that's fine. So now, with the stamped ones, there'll be 3 like that. And I've already done that one, haven't I? And one that's going to be turned around like that. So where they've been stamped, they're obviously very different from that one. So what I do is I go and paint over all of them totally, back and front. So whichever way they're facing, they look the same. Oh, let me find a scrap of paper. Although I don't know why I'm worrying. This has got to be changed, doesn't it? Let's do it straight on here. But no, I can't, can I? Oh, what's that? No, I can't. I find it so difficult deliberately making my grid paper dirty. Right, so have I got soft suede? Yep. So on the painted side, I paint it all over. Well, that's a bit of a skinny leg. And then I do the back as well, and then I'm free to choose whichever way. I could have them all going backwards if necessary. And the reason you can't do it with, well, you could judge it, you could guess it, I suppose, but the reason I stamp them all first rather than just die cutting them and cutting anywhere to separate legs is because it's so much easier when you've got something to follow. Knowing me, I'd finish up with really chunky legs and really skinny legs. Mind you, do that with painted ones anyway, don't I? But I'm sure you know what I mean. Okay, so I have a choice now. One of these has got to go inside the card, so I'm going to choose the one that's got the best looking legs, which I think is probably that one. So that can go on there. And then these need to have dimensionals on them. Which one do you want at the back? We can't cover the skinny leg, can we? Whichever way you go, you can't. Oh, you silly person. Unless you don't have one. Could do it like that, I suppose. But then you need another dark one, wouldn't you? You've got... Oh, bother. Or make you that way. Oh, there we go, we do it like that. Okay, decision made. So you can go back to going inside the card. Let's get some small dimensions going here. So what did we say? That's the front one. And that's the front one as well. Okay, dimensionals on there. Oops, gonna need to cut these as well. These are too big for the bodies. So as long as you cut them in half, sort of. I normally find that I can get them one straight and one going at an angle. Right, I'll cut those two in half now. So much easier doing it this way. Okay, that's slightly an angle. And that one. That one. Oops, just pulled the topping off that one. Right, so that's ready to go. Okay, so now that that's all done, I think I can bring my card in, or out shall I say, because it's buried under here. But that should be stuck enough now. So first of all I'm going to do my lamppost, and as this is a straight up lamppost, I mean the lamps aren't coming off to the side, I can put this quite close to the edge of my card. Just see what I did on this one. The first bit was a lot smaller here, so that's gone under the snow mound. Let's just check that that's straight. I think so. Right, now the lantern. Just popping that straight on there. Now I'm going to do the trees. Obviously you can choose whichever way you do your trees. You could have more trees if you wanted, you could have less trees, you could have more deer, less deer. Right, now for this one, oh, it's not that one that I want to follow, is it? It's this one. Right, that's better because these trees have gone underneath here. So what I do is I just use my tweezers to lift that up, and then that goes down, and then this one. Now I think last time I couldn't find anywhere to put that one. There's one there. It's down here. It could go underneath that, couldn't it? There we go. Just untangle the trees. In fact, I want to put the skinny legged one on first, don't I? Just make sure that I do get him concealed. If I wasn't doing a video, I have to say that I would abandon this deer and do myself a new one. Right, so you're going to be like that. And then you're going to be just in front. Like that. In fact, I shouldn't have put a dimension on that bit, should I? Oops. And can I pull this off? So close to the end of the video, it's a bit silly to start trying something different. Right, so what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of Tombow on that. Whoops. That's better. Right, and this one. Right, and he's just coming out of the tree there, I think, isn't he? Yep, that's good. And for the inside of the card, I'm just going to do, putting glue on the side that I want to face out. So there's that one. And then the reindeer. How did I do the one inside? Alright, okay. So that's that. And then for the moon and stars, I used the card front builder dies. I did that one and I punched out the shapes, and that's these. Okay, so I'm just going to stick some of these in the sky because I think I probably prefer it. I've got enough here so that I can put some on that first card as well. So this one I'm going to try 5 stars. Right, there we go. Got stuck to my finger, so I better put it down. Right, let's put the moon down as well. Oops, am I going to wipe off all the glue now? I'll have to come back and check that one later. You'll probably find that I've got all the glue on the tweezers rather than the star. Oh good, that one's done. Yep. Too much on that one. Let's just dab it off onto there. There we go. Can't believe it. Made a video with 3 projects in it. Oh no, hold on. Let's have a sentiment as well, shall we? That's not straight, is it? Oops. I'm going to redo that as well. As I said with the the Snowman, I'm going to redo another one and just pop it on top, and I'm going to do the same on that as well. That is definitely very, very crooked. Oh, I haven't done this bit either, have I? I remember this bit from when I was a child outside my grandmother's house. They had this little bit. And I don't think it was double-sided like there was one the other end. But I've done it how I remember it. If I'm wrong, then okay, it doesn't matter. It's what I remember. It's happy memories. When we used to stay over at my grandmother's house and my parents went out, they used to love ballroom dancing. They were really, really good at it. Anyway, we'd stay with Nan, and in the morning, in the front garden, she had a gate and a fence round it, and by the fence all the way round there was a privet hedge. We used to break off one of the branches and make it into like a Y shape, and go around collecting cobwebs. We loved it. Got such a really beautiful patterns. Do kids do that nowadays? I wonder. Right, I've just cut that off. I don't know. I mean, really don't remember how long these things were. But I just remember them. The lampposts were green as well. Oh, sweet memories. Right, there we go. So that's today's 3 projects all in one. I've got loads of cards here now. And they are for sale. I do sell my cards, so if anybody wants to buy them, I only charge £2.50 each, because I've sent all my Christmas cards now. And I can only, Stampin' Up rules, I can only sell them if you're in the UK, the Netherlands, France, Austria and Germany. Do email me if you're interested. Right, okay. Many thanks for joining me today. It has been a very long video. I hope, well, I'll be interested in your feedback on that, whether it's an acceptable idea or not. What do you think? Let's make sure you got one of each in front there. But I've enjoyed doing it. Whether I do it again or not, I don't know. A lot of it will depend on feedback, but I do appreciate you joining me today, so many thanks for that. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box below the video. I'm always very happy to help you. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, there'll be a link in the box below for my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. And below the video I will also list all the products that I've used here, and I will do it as card 1, 2, 3 in the order that I've shown you. So it'll be that one, then that one. It's like the lamps, 3, 2, 1. So I will list them. I know it means listing same things again, but I think it's probably just easiest. And finally, if you've enjoyed my video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, which is normally Wednesdays and Sundays, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Many thanks. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.